Across the ages, humanity has told stories of beings that blurred the line between the sacred and the terrifying. From the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Japan, every civilization has whispered of strange forms that walked beside humankind. But what if these were not just tales born from imagination? What if the myths were memories, echoes of encounters with creatures that once shared our world? Stay with us until the end, because today we're not just revisiting legends, we're tracing the possible reality behind them. The first creature on this list is known as the rake. Described as gaunt and ghostly, it has long limbs, hollow black eyes, and a body that seems emptied of life. It never speaks, never attacks, it only stares, and that silence is what unsettles people most. Accounts of the rake first surfaced on online forums in the early 2000s. Witnesses spoke of waking in the night to find a figure standing motionless in a corner of their room. It neither moved nor spoke, yet its stare felt as if it pierced through the walls. Most sightings have been reported across North America, often near woods, deserted structures, or lonely back roads. There is no way to know when it will show itself. People say they sense its presence even before they catch sight of it. Some say it speaks in a voice that no one can recognize, soft sounds without clear meaning. Some dismiss it as nonsense, while others believe it to be a warning. Today, the rake has become an icon of internet folklore. It appears in indie games, videos, and countless fan stories. Its image never changes, silent, skeletal, and always watch it. The mapping guari. To those who claim to have seen it, the creature towers above men, covered in coarse reddish fur, its single glowing eye fixed like a curse in the center of its forehead. Most frightening of all, they say its mouth sits not on its face, but on its stomach, lined with jagged teeth that reek of decay. In legend, the Mapinguari is not merely a beast, it is a protector, the spirit of the forest made flesh, punishing hunters who kill for sport and driving off those who dare to destroy the jungle. Its roar, said to echo for miles, makes trees tremble and animals flee. Some tribes revere it as a sacred being, while others fear it as a demon that guards the secrets of the wild. But could this nightmarish guardian be rooted in something real? Some scientists and cryptozoologists believe that the myth may have grown from the fading memory of a creature that truly existed, the giant ground sloth, known to science as Megatherium. Standing nearly 20 feet tall when upright and weighing more than 4 tons, this prehistoric herbivore once roamed South America, including regions that now form the Amazon basin. Fossil evidence shows it walked both on all fours and occasionally on 2 legs, its claws long enough to tear through branches or defend against predators. Covered in thick fur and slow-moving, it could easily appear monstrous to early humans encountering it in the dense rainforest. When the Ice Age ended roughly 10,000 years ago, these gentle giants disappeared, but perhaps not from memory. Across the ocean, in the misty rivers of ancient Japan, another legend takes shape. The Kappa. A creature said to blur the line between curiosity and terror. In Japanese folklore, the Kappa is a mysterious creature, part turtle, part human, and entirely unsettling. It's said to lurk in rivers and ponds, walking upright with webbed hands, scaly skin, and a sharp, beak-like mouth. The Kappa carries a shallow dish of water on its head, and that water is its life force. If it spills or dries, the creature dies. Stories say it waits by riverbanks, ready to drag anyone too close beneath the surface. Legends of the Kappa appear across Japan, from ancient woodblock prints to children's cautionary tales. Parents once warned their children not to swim alone, claiming the Kappa would seize them and pull them into its lair. Yet, the creature wasn't always portrayed as purely evil. Some stories describe it as curious, fond of cucumbers, and even capable of politeness. If a person bowed, the Kappa might bow back, spilling the water from its head and losing its strength. Behind these stories could lie a distant memory of something real. Millions of years ago, the seas around what is now Japan were home to Archelon, a giant prehistoric turtle that grew up to 30 feet long. With its enormous shell and wide flippers, it could travel vast distances across the ancient oceans. Its powerful jaws were capable of crushing hard-shelled prey, and its shadow would have been terrifying to any smaller creature below. Fossils of giant turtles have been found throughout Asia, and to early people, their skulls and bones might have looked almost human in shape, especially the deep eye sockets and broad ribs. It isn't hard to imagine how such discoveries could inspire stories of a half-human turtle spirit guarding the waters. So, did the Kappa exist? Not as a trickster waiting by the river, but perhaps as a faint echo of the real ocean giants that came before us. From quiet waters to snow-capped peaks, the trail leads us to 2 of the most enduring mysteries of all: the Yeti and its distant cousin across the ocean, Bigfoot. Picture this, you're hiking through the icy silence of the Himalayas when your boot sinks into a patch of snow beside a massive footprint. It's twice the size of your own and perfectly shaped. Toes, heel, arch, all clear. That chilling sight, recorded by explorers and Sherpas alike, gave rise to one of the most enduring mysteries on Earth, the Yeti. In the folklore of Nepal and Tibet, the Yeti is said to be a towering creature, covered in white or gray fur, walking upright, like a man, but strong enough to hurl boulders and survive freezing storms. Locals call it the abominable snowman, a spirit of the mountains that punishes those who trespass on sacred peaks. Monasteries even display what they claim are relics, tufts of hair, pieces of scalp, or fragments of bone, said to belong to the Yeti itself. Across the world in North America, the same legend takes a new form: Bigfoot, or Sasquatch. Covered in dark hair, broad-shouldered, and said to stand between 7 and 10 feet tall, it roams the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest. For decades, reports have poured in: blurry photographs, shaky videos, and plaster casts of enormous footprints. Most are dismissed as hoaxes or mistaken identity, yet every few years, new sightings rekindle the mystery. Still, science offers a clue that may link both creatures to something real. About 2.6 million years ago, a colossal ape known as Gigantopithecus roamed the forests of India, Vietnam, and southern China. It stood close to 10 feet tall and weighed as much as a small bear. Fossilized jaws and teeth show it was primarily a herbivore, feeding on bamboo and fruit, yet its massive size alone would have been enough to terrify early humans. When the Ice Age began and its forests shrank, Gigantopithecus vanished. But ancient people who encountered its remains, or perhaps the last survivors of its kind, might have passed down those memories through generations. Over time, fact became legend. The giant ape of prehistory transformed into the mountain spirit of the Himalayas, and later the forest giant of North America. So, did the Yeti or Bigfoot ever exist? Not as the mysterious beings we imagine today, but maybe as the distant echoes of a creature that once stood tall among early humans. And as long as the wild places of the world remain unexplored, that question will never truly fade. Our next tale doesn't rise from mountain or forest, but from the deep, a darkness beneath the waves where something vast is said to sleep. In 1928, readers of Weird Tales magazine first encountered a name that would haunt popular culture for nearly a century: Cthulhu. Created by writer H.P. Lovecraft, this monstrous being was described as sleeping deep beneath the ocean's surface in a sunken city called Rilya. Its body was immense, part dragon, part squid, part nightmare, with leathery wings, scales like iron, and a head crowned with writhing tentacles. When it stirred, the very seas were said to tremble. For decades, Cthulhu remained a work of fiction, a symbol of humanity's fear of the unknown. But as ocean exploration advanced, scientists discovered that the real depths of Earth's oceans were even more mysterious than Lovecraft imagined. Less than 1% of the deep sea floor has been explored, and within that darkness, enormous creatures still roam, from colossal squids over 40 feet long to glowing predators never before seen by human eyes. Among these ancient terrors of the deep, one real creature stands out: Tusoteuthis. This giant squid-like predator dominated the seas during the late Cretaceous period, about 70 million years ago. Fossils reveal it grew up to 30 feet in length, with a sharp parrot-like beak, capable of tearing through thick flesh. Its long tentacles were lined with hooks and suction cups that could grip prey in a deadly embrace. Tusoteuthis hunted some of the largest marine reptiles of its age, including Mosasaurus, the apex predator immortalized in popular films. Marks found on fossilized bones suggest that battles between the two were violent and frequent. In those ancient oceans, the squid often won, but like most giants of prehistory, Tusoteuthis vanished 66 million years ago, likely during the same cataclysm that wiped out the dinosaurs. So, was Cthulhu real? Not as a cosmic god rising from the sea, but the terror it represents might come from something that once was. When people imagine vast tentacled monsters beneath the waves, they may be remembering, in some distant corner of the human mind, the shadow of a predator that really existed. And with so much of the deep still unexplored, who's to say what else might be sleeping down there? But not all legends are born of fear. Some shimmer with beauty and grace. Among them stands the most beloved of all: the unicorn. One of humanity's most enduring symbols of purity and mystery. Across nearly every culture, tales speak of a graceful creature, white as snow, with a single horn spiraling from its forehead. In medieval Europe, it was said to live deep within enchanted forests, drawn only to the presence of the innocent. Its horn, called the alicorn, was believed to neutralize poison and cure disease. Kings and nobles once paid fortunes for so-called unicorn horns, which were later discovered to be narwhal tusks traded from the Arctic. But the story of the unicorn reaches far beyond Europe. Carvings from the Indus Valley civilization, dating back more than 4,000 years, show a bull-like animal with one horn centered on its brow, stamped onto clay seals used for trade. Ancient Persian texts mention a similar beast called the Karkadan, described as strong, temperamental, and dangerous. Even in China, the Shilin was revered as a creature of peace, appearing only in the presence of great rulers or saints. Somehow, across continents and millennia, the image of the one-horned creature endured. So where did this idea begin? Scientists point to a real animal that once roamed the frozen steppes of Eurasia: Elasmotherium sibiricum, sometimes called the Siberian unicorn. This Ice Age rhinoceros stood over 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weighed close to 4 tons. Its enormous horn, possibly more than 3 feet long, rose from the center of its forehead, not the nose, like modern rhinos. With a thick coat of fur and a heavy frame, it would have looked almost mythic against the glacial landscape. Radiocarbon dating shows that Elasmotherium survived far longer than once thought, possibly as recently as 35,000 years ago, meaning it may have walked the same lands as early humans. To hunters and travelers of that time, glimpsing such a creature could easily have inspired awe, even reverence. But as the Ice Age ended and its grassland wetland habitat disappeared, Elasmotherium vanished too. So, did the unicorn exist? Not as the gentle, glowing horse of legend, but as a massive, horned giant that once thundered across the plains. Over centuries, its memory softened into the symbol of purity and grace we know today. Even myths, it seems, sometimes begin with something real. And finally, we come to the oldest story of them all, the serpent. From the jungles of India to the temples of Egypt, every civilization has spoken of a creature so vast it could coil around the world itself. From the frozen north to the burning deserts of Egypt, nearly every ancient civilization tells stories of giant serpents, beings so vast they could encircle mountains, swallow ships, or even threaten the gods themselves. Across cultures, the serpent represented both creation and destruction, symbols of wisdom, chaos, and rebirth. In Norse mythology, there is Jörmungandr, the world serpent and brother of Fenrir. Cast into the ocean by Odin, he grew until his body wrapped around the entire earth, his tail locked in his jaws. When he finally releases it, the legend says the seas will rise and the world will end. In Hindu tradition, great serpents known as Sheshanaga and Vasuki serve divine purposes, one supporting the weight of the universe, the other used by gods and demons alike in the cosmic churning of the ocean. Both are symbols of power, balanced between creation and destruction. Further west, the Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, a god of knowledge, wind, and renewal, whose image adorned temples from Mexico to Central America. In ancient Egypt, Apophis was the opposite, the serpent of chaos, locked in eternal battle with the sun god Ra, attacking his solar barge each night as it passed through the underworld. Somehow, in every culture, the serpent stands at the boundary between order and ruin, a creature both sacred and feared. But were these stories born purely of imagination? Fossil evidence suggests there may be a real origin for humanity's awe of giant snakes. 66 million years ago, in the steaming jungles of what is now South America, there lived a predator unlike any seen before, Titanoboa carajonensis. Stretching nearly 50 feet long and weighing close to a ton, it was large enough to crush crocodiles and swallow prehistoric turtles whole. Its remains, discovered in a Colombian coal mine in 2009, revealed vertebrae thicker than a human arm and ribs nearly 2 feet long. For years, scientists believed Titanoboa was the largest snake to ever exist, until new fossils from India's Gujarat region told a different story. In 2023, paleontologists announced the discovery of Vasuki indicus, an ancient serpent believed to have reached lengths of more than 55 feet, named after Vasuki, the divine snake of Hindu legend. It may have hunted along rivers and swamps in a tropical world that once connected Africa and India. Both creatures lived long after the age of the dinosaurs, proving that nature's monsters didn't disappear with them, they simply changed form. In the jungles of South America and the plains of ancient India, real serpents once reigned as kings of the earth. So, were the legends of world serpents and divine snakes pure myth? Maybe not. The stories might carry echoes of what humanity once feared and what the earth itself once created. Even now, in the deep rivers of the Amazon and the swamps of Asia, enormous pythons and anacondas remind us that not all of the serpent's power belongs to the past. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Cheers.